It's Just the News. I'm Amata Balachandra. I'm standing in for Fate today. Let's get straight to it. Now, according to PTI, India has refuted criticism of its new IT rules by the three United Nations special rapporteurs. Now, this comes after a UN report had raised concerns over the new IT rules. Now, to give you a bit of a context about these IT rules, social media intermediaries like Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp had to appoint a grievance officer, nodal officer, and a chief compliance officer. It would also have to track the originator of a message, defying the end-to-end encryption of WhatsApp. Now, while responding to concerns raised by the Special Procedures Branch of the UNHRC, India's permanent mission to the UN in Geneva said, and I quote, "The concerns alleging potential implications for freedom of expression that the new IT rules will entail are highly misplaced," end quote. It also asserted that the rules are designed to empower ordinary users of social media. It also went on to say, and I quote, "We worry that intermediaries will over-comply with takedown requests to limit their liability or will develop digital recognition-based content removal systems or automated tools to restrict content. The concern that the rules may be misused deliberately to make a large number of complaints so as to overwhelm the grievous redressal mechanisms created by social media platforms is also misplaced, exaggerated, and disingenuous, and shows lack of willingness to address the grievances of the users of these media platforms while using their data to earn revenues," end quote. Meanwhile, Twitter India has now restricted 50 tweets in connection with the alleged assault of an elderly man in Loni, Ghaziabad. In a statement, Twitter said, and I quote, "As explained in our country withheld policy, it may be necessary to withhold access to certain content in response to a valid legal demand or when the content has been found to violate local laws." Now, the withholdings are limited to the specific jurisdiction or country where the content is determined to be illegal. We notify the account holder directly so they are aware that we've received a legal order pertaining to the account by sending a message to the email address associated with the accounts if available, end quote. Now, to give you a context, an elderly Muslim man in Loni was allegedly assaulted and his beard was also allegedly cut off. The UP police went on to rule out communal angle in this case and said that the attackers were Hindu as well as Muslim. Now, the attackers were unhappy with over some amulets, according to the UP police, that he had sold, which they believe did not work. Now, the action by Twitter comes in the wake of an ongoing investigation by the UP police against the social media platform for allegedly promoting communal tension. Meanwhile, in another update to the Ghaziabad case, the Bombay High Court has granted transit anticipatory bail to journalist Rana Ayub and granted her protection from arrest for 4 weeks. Now, the FIR was filed against Rana Ayub for sharing the video of the alleged assault of the elderly Muslim man. Now, it was alleged that she circulated the video on Twitter without verifying its authenticity. Soon after, the FIR was filed against Ayub and others for offences punishable under sections 153, 153A, 295A, 505 and 120B of the Indian Penal Code. Now, let's take a look at some COVID news now. AIIMS chief Dr. Randeep Guleria has said that the new Delta Plus variant could become a variant of concern if unchecked. He also went on to say that India needs to learn from the UK as the variant is causing a surge in cases. Now, the Delta Plus variant is the mutated version of the Delta variant B16172 that originated in India. Now, in an interview with NDTV, Dr. Randeep Guleria said, and I quote, "We don't need to take this virus casually. We need to understand this virus is changing and changing to survive and infect more and more people. Therefore, we have to be aggressive and try and be ahead with the virus." The UK did a very good job of having an aggressive lockdown for many months, and when they started opening up, the new variant, the Delta variant, caused a surge in number of cases. What it means is we are also in a similar vulnerable situation, and if we are not careful right now, then 3 or 4 months from now, we will again have a similar situation. And that is why we need to be very aggressive. It's mutating, changing, new variants are coming up, end quote. Meanwhile, on the occasion of 7th International Yoga Day, Prime Minister Modi addressed the nation and said that when the pandemic hit, no country was prepared and that yoga became the source of inner strength. Now, he went on to say, and I quote, "Yoga helps in self-discipline. It inculcates faith in people that they could fight this virus. Frontline warriors told me that they made yoga a tool in fighting the virus," end quote. Prime Minister Modi also said that India, in collaboration with the World Health Organization, will launch the M-Yoga application, which will have many videos of yoga training based on common yoga protocol available in different languages in the world. Now, he said this will help us in making the One World, One Health motto successful. Meanwhile, India has reported 53,256 new COVID cases, the lowest daily spike in 88 days. Kerala has remained the worst affected state with 11,647 cases, followed by Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh. Now, the daily case positivity rate stands at 3.83%, which is less than 5% for 14 consecutive days. So that's a bit of good news. India's active caseload is now over 7 lakh. Meanwhile, the centre's vaccination policy for 18 plus has started today, and on day one, India has administered over 69 lakh COVID vaccine doses, the highest number of doses since the vaccination drive in fact began, according to the Health Ministry. Now, according to revised guidelines, the central government will buy 75% of the vaccines and will distribute them among the states and union territories free of cost. States will no longer be involved in vaccine procurement. Additionally, private hospitals can continue to procure the remaining 25% and vaccinate those willing to pay for their vaccines. Now, this comes after the Supreme Court had criticized the centre's vaccine policy, the previous policy for the 18 to 44 age group, and called it, and I quote, arbitrary and irrational. Meanwhile, West Bengal has announced that it will vaccinate only those who are 18 plus if they are in priority groups. Now, according to NDTV, an official has said that there are not enough vaccines to vaccinate all adults. The decision not to vaccinate universally is to also avoid overcrowding at government hospitals, according to officials. Uttar Pradesh, in the meantime, has relaxed its night curfew by 2 hours from June 21st. It will now be from 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. Shops, malls and restaurants will be allowed to remain open till 9 p.m. on weekdays. There's also information that restaurants will be allowed to stay open at 50% capacity. Delhi has also announced that it will reopen bars, parks and gardens. Restaurants and bars will be allowed to operate at 50% capacity. Delhi Metro and DTC buses will continue to operate with a 50% seating capacity. In the meantime, these are the states that have extended curbs. Haryana, for instance, has extended its lockdown till the 28th of June. However, it has eased restrictions imposed on weddings and funerals and allowed corporate offices to operate with full attendance as well. Tamil Nadu has extended its restrictions till the 28th of June. It has also announced some relaxations in some districts that have less COVID cases. Goa has also extended its COVID curfew till the 28th of June. The Chief Minister has tweeted, and I quote, "State level curfew will be extended till 7 a.m. 28th of June 2021. Shops and shopping malls, except cinema halls, theatres, multiplexes, entertainment zones will be allowed to be open between 7 a.m. and 3 p.m. Fish markets may also remain open," end quote. Let's now take a look at what's making news in the world of business. Tamil Nadu on Monday has constituted a 5-member Economic Advisory Council to the Chief Minister to guide the Chief Minister M.K. Stalin in managing the state's economic and social policies, according to NDTV. Now, the council, interestingly, will include Nobel laureate Esther Duflo of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, former Reserve Bank Governor Raghuram Rajan, former Chief Economic Advisor to the Centre Arvind Subramanian, development economist John Rees, and former Union Finance Secretary S. Narayan. Now, the council, according to different reports, say that will provide general guidance on economic and social policy, social justice, and human development related issues and matters related to equal opportunities for women and well being of underprivileged groups. Meanwhile, according to the RBI, 159 districts in 25 states have witnessed a decline in term fixed deposits from January to March this year. Now, on the 159 districts, 23 are in Uttar Pradesh, followed by 21 in Gujarat, 16 in Karnataka, and 11 in Maharashtra. Now, the data indicates that people are withdrawing money from their savings for medical emergencies or due to the economic impact of the pandemic. Let's now take a look at what's making news across the world. According to the National Health Commission, China has administered over 1 billion COVID vaccine doses. Now, it has become the first country to reach this landmark. According to Al Jazeera, Chinese authorities have said that around 40% of the population will be fully vaccinated by the end of June, with 70% expected to be fully covered by the end of the year. Now, out of 74.8 crore people who are fully vaccinated in the world, 22.3 crore are from China alone. Also in the news, days after billionaire Jeff Bezos announced that he would be flying to space, multiple petitions have now been launched to prevent the Amazon CEO's return to Earth. Now, 2 of these petitions have collectively got over 59,000 signatures. One of the petition's description read, and I quote, "Billionaires should not exist on Earth or in space, but should they decide the latter, they should stay there," end quote. Now, Blue Origin's founder Jeff Bezos will be accompanied by his brother Mark Bezos, as a New Shepard rocket will fly them into space on the 20th of July. Let's now take a look at what's making news in the world of sports. The Indian Olympic Association have criticized the unfair strict rules imposed by the Japanese government on COVID hit countries. Now, the protocols will involve daily testing of athletes for a week before they depart for Japan, and for them to refrain from coming into contact with other teams for 3 days after they arrive in Japan. Now, the Indian Olympics Association has said that the rules will cause athletes to lose 3 days of crucial training. They have said, and I quote, "Now 3 days will be wasted. This is the time the athletes need to be moving towards their mode to peak. Highly unfair for Indian athletes who have worked hard for 5 years to be discriminated against just 5 days before in the Olympics," end quote. Now, before we wrap up this bulletin, we're going to leave you with one bit of positive news. Indo-American chemist Sumita Mitra was honored with the European Inventor Award 2021 in the non-European Patent Office countries category. It is one of the prestigious innovation prizes in Europe. Now, Ms. Mitra was awarded for successfully integrating nanotechnology into dental materials to produce stronger and more aesthetically pleasing fillings. We congratulate Ms. Mitra. With that, it's a wrap on this bulletin. Thank you so much for watching.